What's going on, everybody? This is the Awesemo.com night shift for Monday, May 14th slate of baseball. I am back after, being off for 2 days. It was my anniversary weekend. Got to enjoy myself a little bit. We've got 8 games tomorrow. That's like the perfect slate for me. I wanted to dip my toe back into the water and not just dive in with like a full 14 gamer. Some of it looks good. I want to touch on a couple games, couple stacks, couple pitchers. Just a little bit to wet the whistle before my show with Jake in the morning. So first thing that we need to touch on, weather. As of right now, it looks like the Royals and Rays game and the Indians and Tigers game, potential thunderstorm issues. Tampa and Kansas City in particular looks like it might be a tough one tomorrow, so you'll want to pay attention to that. Cleveland and the Tigers, not as bad, but there's definitely some opportunities for thunderstorms around game time, so you'll want to pay attention to that tomorrow. But for right now, not looking the best from a weather perspective. Like I said, we got 8 games, some interesting totals. The Red Sox have a 5.1 run implied total against the A's. That's the highest for the slate. Indians 4.9, so if that game does go off with the Tigers, as of right now, they've got the second highest implied total. Makes for an interesting look. And then the Royals actually have the third highest implied total. So a lot of the offense is congregated into some games that have some weather problems. If that Royals-Rays game doesn't go, there's going to be a lot of spread out stacks because there's not a lot out there to love tomorrow. So keep an eye on weather for tomorrow, and now we'll take a look at a little bit of pitching. So I ran some crunches prior to recording to check and see where my ownership distributions would be to start. First and foremost, it looks like Lance McCullers is going to be my favorite guy on either site. McCullers is 9,300 on FanDuel. He is, 10,000 on DraftKings. There are 4 guys at 10K or higher. McCullers is the lowest. You also have Pat Corbin at 12,700, Carlos Carrasco at 12,200, and Rick Porcello at 10.5. I like McCullers there quite a bit. Astros 4.3 run implied total. Angels 3.7. I just think that's a really nice spot for McCullers, particularly with his stuff. He's popping up the most for me out of my starters, and that's on both sites. A guy down the line a little bit that you could potentially take a look at, and I'm surprised I'm saying this because I don't really like him, but Chris Stratton is 5,700 on DraftKings. He's 6,000 on DK. I don't necessarily recommend a ton of him on FanDuel. I don't see the need to pay down all that far with 8 games on the slate. But on DK as a second starter, I think Stratton looks really nice. Giants play the Reds. Reds have a 3.6 run implied total. That's in the pack of the lower teams. So I think Stratton, he'll probably be a little popular. I don't know. We'll find out a little bit more in the morning, but he is somebody that I'm giving a second eye to. I think that I'll have some ownership to him. That's a really nice spot. Home game against the Reds. So he popped up quite a bit for me on DraftKings, a little bit on FanDuel as well. Other guy that I would take a look at the top of the heap would be Carlos Carrasco, but again, you're going to want to pay attention to the weather for that Tigers-Indians game. Could get a little wonky. So Carrasco is the guy that I would be looking at the top. I would prefer Carrasco to Corbin. Yeah, I don't like paying up that full freight for Corbin, particularly against the Brewers. The 3.6 run implied total is still solid, but I don't know, something has me a little nervous there. Generally speaking, I'm relatively pessimistic on Corbin anyway, so we might hear tomorrow morning that Jake prefers Corbin. So right now, for me, McCullers is my priority. Stratton, my pay down guy. If I need another guy to pay up for, it's Carlos Carrasco. I'm indifferent to most of the other guys. We'll dig into them on the show in the morning. When it comes to stacks, I'll first take a look at hitters. I get a lot of Cleveland, so a lot of Lindor, a lot of Jose Ramirez, Edwin Encarnacion. I'm seeing Michael Brantley quite a bit. I mean, really, the prices for the Indians on FanDuel right now are criminally low. They look really good on DK, too. If I take a look at my hitter crunches, still a lot of Cleveland at the top there. Lindor, Ramirez, Brantley, Edwin Encarnacion. Am I missing anybody else? Greg Allen, if he starts for the Indians, he's coming up as a guy, $2,000 price on FanDuel. That is quite the bargain if he's in this lineup tomorrow with that Indians implied total. So if that weather is able to hold up and Greg Allen does see himself somewhere in the Indians lineup, it's a direction you want to look. You can't beat that $2,000 price point. You know, you can get something like, oh God, whatever you want at the top. Lindor, Brantley, you know, Greg Allen and Jose Ramirez, and have like a relatively cheap stack, all things considered, that could easily go with Corbin, Carrasco, McCullers. Like anybody you want to pay up for pitching, you'd be available there with an Indian stack. They're for sure my number one stack, barring any weather concerns, any deeper weather concerns at least. If I take a look, let's see. Getting a decent amount of Diamondbacks on FanDuel and on DraftKings. So let me take a look at that. Diamondbacks hosting the Brewers. That's obviously Corbin, Junior Guerra going for Milwaukee. Guerra projects to have a 4.2 run or 4.2 walk per 9 per steamer. Might make things a little tricky. Diamondbacks price is also very nice. David Peralta, 3,000 on FanDuel, 3,800. I think he looks really good. You know, I still love Goldschmidt. I know he's having a little bit of a rough year, but 3,700 on FanDuel, 4,400 on DK. I'm more than okay with some Goldschmidt. Descalso looks good. AJ Pollock looks good. Steven Souza looks good. I always get roped into Ketel Marte. Probably Ketel Marte. 2,200 on FanDuel, bargain price. All these guys popping up quite a bit for me. I'd say Arizona is probably my second most popular stack right now. If I needed to look at anybody else from like a one-off perspective, I got a lot of Mookie Betts on FanDuel. Let's see who else is popping up a little bit. More of a solo. Brian Dozier on DraftKings coming up quite a bit. Actually, on both sites. So I think Dozier looks like someone that could get some ownership tomorrow. Really like Greg Allen popping up a lot in that $2,000 spot. I like that quite a bit. Am I seeing anybody else that's coming up that I think we should touch on? You know, a Seattle stack on FanDuel looks like it could be pretty solid. D. Gordon, Nelson Cruz. Who else is popping up there? Segura, Kyle Seager. I'd say Seattle is probably my third highest stack. So let's say Cleveland is my priority stack tomorrow if that game goes off. I think Arizona is probably my favorite value stack. 4.4 run implied total isn't too shabby, especially if that Royals-Rays game doesn't see the light of day. I think a Diamondback stack could look really nice. Maybe, I'd say third is probably Seattle right now. We'll dig into that on the show in the morning. I wouldn't expect Seattle to be all that popular. Jake Odorizzi going from Minnesota, but the top of the line with D. Gordon, Kyle Seager, Segura, and Cruz, I like quite a bit. Mitch Haniger for 4,100 on DK. He's at a price point that I think is feasible. And then Mike Zunino, if you need a catcher, 3,500. I think that's absolutely worth a look. It's a decent day for tomorrow. 8 games isn't bad. It's probably my favorite sized baseball slate. Just enough that you could like really dig in on the teams. It doesn't feel very crapshooty. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Should have a big week this week. Tons of baseball content. We've got one-off basketball stuff, since most of these games are only going to be one day at a time. So really, baseball is the focus. So like and subscribe to the video and the channel. It helps us tremendously. We appreciate everybody that already has. Jake and I will be here in the morning for our normal video, where we will go through each one of these games one at a time. So check that out. And then I will be live at 6 o'clock. I think 6 o'clock. What time's the other basketball games tomorrow start? Let's see. That game starts at 9. Okay, so never mind. I should have known that. Western Conference. Chris and I will be going live tomorrow at 6 till about 5-10 minutes after lock. So come join into that. Those are real fun streams. We'll start digging into a little bit more baseball now. Now that we don't really have much overlap for basketball, we'll touch on a little bit of single game showdown type stuff for the NBA, but we won't have too much to go on other than maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So it'll be very baseball focused. We'll get back to picking Diddy Dong. It'll be a good time. So check out all the spotlight, hitter, pitcher, and stack articles tomorrow. Tune into the video in the morning. Like and subscribe. I'm done plugging everything. Awesemo.com. That's it for me. Night shift is over. Have a good day, people.